Well, Jimbo, we're here. Football season's over.
Can't believe it. Seems
Like
like it just started.
it was like literally we were just talking about. We were just starting to come up with our rankings and who was going to be the best tier. You were yelling at me because I didn't have the Eagles high enough, and now it's done.
It's over.
What what?
What do we have to look forward to now?
Well, fuck you. Flyers suck. You know how it goes. You know how it goes. Rangers suck. Flyers swallow. That's the chant, and it's all so very true
Yeah, but
for you guys down there on Broad Street.
we're gonna beat your ass this Saturday night. It's gonna be
I bet you
seven
want
to
to. You
nothing.
want to beat that ass because you like clapping cheeks down there on Broad
The
Street. That's all
Trav's
you guys love
connected,
to
all
do.
chirping at you and
Yeah,
get you hot
yeah,
and
yeah,
bothered.
yeah. A bunch of Broad Street boofuses. I don't even know what a boofus is, but it's what you are. Go fuck yourself, Philly.
Fuck the devil.
And hello there, all you stay tuners. Hey, listen, it might be the Eagles. I hate the Eagles. Don't get me wrong here. First quarter, keep it even. Second quarter, start running the fucking ball. Third quarter, take a power nap. Fourth quarter, oh shit, there's the rest of the game. Let's go.
Fuck it, I'm a diabetic. I will root for the team that will literally give me diabetes and death. Rooting for a team from Hershey is like a Catholic rooting for Satan. It doesn't make any sense. This is Stay Tuned Sports, and it starts in 3, 2, 1.
And hello there, all you Stay Tuners. Welcome back to another episode of Stay Tuned Sports. It's your good friend Jimbo here with our good buddy King. Finally got the pointing down. I see you're getting ready for Saturday night.
Absolutely. I see you as well.
Yep.
Getting ready. It's gonna be an interesting. It's gonna be cold.
They're calling for flurries. They're calling for flurries, which I think that'll be
Possible.
okay.
They said, but that's earlier in the day. They said there might be flurries earlier in the day. Going to be really cold. By the time the game happens, which is 8 p.m., it's going to be about 24 degrees. We're trying to. We've kind of figured out the logistics. We're gonna trust New Jersey Transit.
Yeah,
it's probably not the best thing, especially if you ask old Frank the Tank over there from Barstool, personal friend of mine, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I've known him for 20. I've known him long before Barstool.
Oh,
so, not that I'm trying to get a rub. Hire me, Barstool. Because he notoriously has a running beef with New Jersey Transit. In fact, that's how we got hired by Barstool. So we're going to trust it. We're going to trust it going to MetLife because we do plan on doing a bit of the pre-gaming, as they say. Yes. So kind of driving there maybe not be the best idea. So but I'm looking forward to it. Layer up. I ordered some long johns. I ordered some new gloves, some nice new heavy gloves. And I'm layering up, baby, because that's just what we're going to have to do, and it'll be a lot better if the Devils actually show up and win. We've won 2 in a row now. We beat Seattle, we beat Nashville on Tuesday, so going on a good bit of a roll here, getting into the end of the week, and hopefully we can keep that up going into Saturday.
Unfortunately, with us, we're actually getting bitten by the injury bug a little bit here. We have Rustellini, I believe they pronounce his name. He's one of our better defensemen. He's out pretty much a long-term injury. Forrester, I believe they said they're hoping he'll be back for the weekend. But as far as the Flyers, I'd say past couple weeks I've been watching them. It seems like as long as if Emerson is starting in net, because obviously we don't know who's starting yet. If Emerson is starting in net, he needs to get some confidence saves, and it seems like once he has that, we're gold. If he gets rattled just a little bit, it's floodgates are going to be open.
Well, because that seems to be, well, I mean, that's a big problem with the Flyers and the Devils, is that they both seem to got bit by the sexual assault bug.
Yeah.
Between Carter Hart and McLeod and Foote here for the Devils. So they're all having a great time up in London, Ontario, Canada there. And we'll see how that ends. Doesn't look good.
No.
Doesn't look good by the evidence and by what the people are saying. Again, innocent until proven guilty. We're not going to say anything like that. You know, like allegations have been like, let's all remember Duke Lacrosse. Let's all remember some of the other stuff that has happened with allegations that came out to be not true. However, doesn't look good. So, you know, all these talks about, oh man, you hope Carter Hart kind of turns it around and you know, starts getting consistent in net, which is kind of funny because he seemed to be actually getting consistent in net this year.
Yeah.
And then, whoops.
And I think I read somewhere or heard somewhere that the case isn't even going to be heard till 2026. It's a couple years away.
I don't know. I haven't seen too much on it outside of the fact that they were brought in and formally charged.
Yeah.
Up there with the actual SA crimes. I'm not sure if we could say sexual assault or we'll get banned on YouTube. I don't know what the new rules are for any of these things. But yeah, so I don't know whenever it's going to get done through the courts. If it's anything like the Canadian healthcare system, the case will be heard in like 2034. So, you know, I have no idea. But either way, I don't see, I mean, clearly they're not going to be playing until the case is heard.
Well, yeah.
And then even if the case is, if they're acquitted, if anything like that, like you're talking about, that's going to be 2 years, 3 years out of hockey.
Yeah.
And they're still going to have the stigma on them. So who knows if they'll ever get anything back? But man, it's just you know, people make very poor choices in their life, and yes. At some point you have to realize even if they are proven innocent, even if they are not guilty, whatever the case is, at the time, this is for everybody. Just if you find yourself in a bad situation, if you find yourself in a situation where you're like, I'm not sure if I'm quite comfortable with what's going on or what this looks like, get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Like just get, and if you don't, then unfortunately you're going to be complicit in whatever happens and whatever unfortunate things are going on. But like if you're like, you have to have the ability to see a situation being like, you know, this doesn't look good.
No.
You know, if I'm somebody from the outside and I'm looking at this doesn't look good. So I'm going to remove myself from this situation and just go about my day.
It's common sense, you know, like you said. You know, if it doesn't look good, use your common sense. Get the hell out of there.
No matter what it is, even if you think it's fun or consensual or anything like that. But I'll tell you this: if it looks like or feels like it's the beginning of a porno movie, leave. Yeah. Because it's not. It's not going to be good.
Yeah.
It's not going to lead to a good time. And it's just not good. Just leave. Trust your instinct. Trust yourself. Now, again, if you're a scumbag,
yeah,
and you're like, I see nothing wrong with the situation. Well, then, I mean, then this is what you get.
Yeah, you deserve to get what you get.
Right. So, you know, we'll see. But anyway,
enough of that.
That's all a conversation for another day.
I mean, Willie Gay from the Chiefs during the parade looked like he was having a good time. Did you see that?
That was the gentleman I saw laying on the street, correct?
He was running barefoot, shirtless, down, I guess, in front of the parade bus and everything.
That's how you. First of all, that's how you get ringworm. So, you know, yeah, get some shoes on. At least socks. At least socks.
I find it funny that comes out, and a few minutes before that, it comes out that Travis Kelce did not have any beers, but he was carrying tequila from 1942. So he was having some tequilas. And a couple of days ago, Andy Reid, made a quote or a statement. You know, maybe we should dial it back this time around. You know, take it easy. And I guess the boys said, "Nah, we're taking a step up."
Well, have we seen the Kelseys? Like just in normal I mean, listen, let's look at Jason.
Yes.
Let's look at Jason, not even from a Super Bowl parade. You know, the classic Philadelphia Super Bowl parade that they had in 2017.
Yeah, take him out.
Or 2018, sorry, early 2018. You know, let's just look at him for the last couple games where he was supporting his brother Travis in Buffalo, and in Baltimore, and at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Which we will talk about in just a little bit here, and then the after party as well. Moderation is not in the Kelseys.
At least in
vocabulary.
Jason's. At least in Jason's.
Not in Travis's either.
Because it came out that Jason found that luchador mask on the ground and said, "I be breaking the law if I don't put this on."
But see, here's the other thing too: is that let's say that was you and I.
Yeah.
Hanging out at the bar, whether it was Stan, Sununa's, whatever, somewhere around there in Wilkes-Barre, some bar there.
Okay.
And we found a luchador mask on the floor in one of these bars.
Yeah.
We would fight each other to see who was going to put the mask on. So I get it.
Yeah.
Like, I understand it.
But if he found it in one of the casinos of Las Vegas compared to one of the floors of Stan Sununas's, yeah, I would wash it first, or at least put a plastic bag inside of there somewhere so it's not completely touching my skin.
Listen, I'm going to make a statement here. I would say the floor of a Las Vegas casino is cleaner than anything in Wilkes-Barre.
That's true.
I'm just going to put that out there into the world. Everybody else, make of it what you will. But that's what I'm going to say to that.
Okay.
That's just what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But yes, no, Jimbo, there was a football game that happened on Sunday. The last one of the year.
Before we get into that, but to make another statement about Jason Kelce.
Okay. You love talking about that's your boy. That's your man crush.
Actually, there's two things I want to bring up before the Super Bowl. This one first. So I'm pretty sure everybody saw the dance moves. Jason with the luchador mask on and everything.
So he was having a time.
That was, I think I'm allowed to say this. That was such a white boy dance move. And
No. See, here's the thing. It wasn't a white boy dance move. It was a drunk white boy dance move.
That's true. Okay.
There is a difference. And if you watch it, you know it. You get it. You've seen a million drunk fat white boys dance just like that.
Yeah.
If they're not drunk, they don't dance like that. They dance maybe a little bit differently, a little bit slower, a little bit more, maybe with even a little bit more coordination sometimes. But me and you know, enough Wilkes-Barre St. Patrick's Days, we've seen plenty of fat, drunk rednecks dance just like that.
That's true.
Most of them wearing overalls as well.
Yeah. Well, I guess they had their New Heights episode today, and they had Kylie Kelce on it, and they were talking about Jason's moves.
Bless her heart.
Oh my God. I love Jason, but the more he is on videos, the more I'm like, how do you deal with this without drinking? Right? But talk about
that's how I feel about Jackie. Like I really do. Like, you know, the more Jackie's with me, the more I feel like I just turn to her sometimes and I'm like, how are you still with me?
Yeah.
With you know, just how I am, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So they're talking about his dance moves, and Kylie said to Jason, "Yes, Jason, I seen your hip thrust moves." And Jason responded, "I hope so. We had 3 kids together." That was funny. I didn't see the video. I just saw the quotes of it, but I'm definitely gonna watch that this weekend, this Friday.
That's pretty good. That is pretty good. And
I saw this question posted on X, Twitter, whatever it's called nowadays. Obviously, Brian Dawkins is one of the most beloved Eagles player by the fans. Do you think Jason Kelsey has overtaken that? Now I know you're not an Eagles
Recency
fan, but
bias. There's a recency bias, I think.
okay.
So I think if you ask like a majority of Eagle fans now, I think Kelsey, the needle would go more towards Jason than it would Dawkins, simply because Jason is now and Brian Dawkins is a little bit from the past. But Dawkins is one of those. Dawkins is a player like Reggie, is a player like Randall. He's a player like he's one of those. Like, I would go even so far as, because you still see Bednarik jerseys
Yeah.
every now and then spotted in Philadelphia. So, like, he's one of those players that is in Eagles lore.
Okay.
Like, he's beloved by the city so much that 50 years from now, you're still going to see 5 or 6 people at an Eagles game wearing a Brian Dawkins jersey. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
You know, so I would say at this moment right now, yes, I think Jason is the more known and appreciated and loved figure of the two in Philadelphia. But I think that's more to, again, recency bias than anything else.
That's
He's just
true.
Jason is happening now.
Yeah.
You know, and Brian is, you know, from you know, a little bit ago now. It's been a while since Brian retired, you know. So, and I got one more question for you.
Okay.
Who was drunker, Jason Kelsey or Taylor Swift? That bitch was hot.
That's tough.
She was God ossified. See you later. She was. Listen. I have my wife Jackie, huge Swiftie, loves Taylor Swift. So by proxy, I'm Swiftie adjacent. So I see all the pictures, all the updates, everything she does, all the stuff that she's done in the past. I have the whole history Rolodex. It's all been explained to me. The way I explain the NFL and the history of the NFL and history of sports and hockey and football, all that stuff, how I do that to her, she's done that with Taylor Swift to me. So I have everything there.
Okay.
Of all the times that you see Taylor like out where she's been drinking or having a good time, like, you know, last year she went to some weed restaurant that was like had a THC stuff, so she was rolling a little bit, you know. She's gone to a couple of bars sometimes to celebrate her birthday, or she was at Stonewall a while ago when she was absolutely ossified, drinking her own songs and doing stuff like that. So you've seen Taylor Swift every now and then kind of in an inebriated state.
Yeah.
Brother, I can tell you, I've never seen that blonde woman as drunk as she was, even before the celebration.
Yeah.
Like, Blake Lively had to hold her up in the suite halftime by halftime.
Yeah.
Because she was like, whoa. I mean, and to her credit, she slammed whatever she was drinking, whether that was some kind of liquor or wine. I think it might have been wine.
Okay.
Because I don't think it didn't look like beer. I'm just gonna say it. But either way, she chugged that shit.
Yeah.
And slammed it down when they put it on the big screen there in the stadium. That wasn't on TV. That was just in the stadium. So again, that's a big appreciation there to Taylor doing a chug on like a lineman at a hockey game, you know.
Yeah.
So good for her.
I want to say one thing about Taylor. You know, obviously everybody knows my stance on Taylor. Musically. But I want to give her credit for when game got over, they go down to the field to, you know, meet up with Travis and the trophy presentation, all that stuff.
Right.
I'm pretty sure you saw the video. She was protecting Mama Kelsey. She had the arm, she had Donna's arm in her arm, just like, you know, walking her all nice and everything.
She might have also been using her as a crutch to stand up.
But then also though, once they both saw Travis, she stepped back, said, "Mama, go." And let.
Oh, when he came off the stage to go, yeah, Mama got the hug first. No, absolutely. And here's the other thing too. I think Travis knew to do that as well. And listen, if he didn't, he might have gotten killed.
Yeah.
From everybody. But I think that's another thing too, because all the Swifties were like, "Oh yeah, see, he gave Mama, you know, you always give Mama the love first.
Yeah.
You always give Mama the love first, no matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter who you're with. Mama gets the love first, always.
Yeah.
That's just a rule. So again, that was a good move by Travis. And then, right afterwards, he gave his mom the hug and he went over. He's like, "Come over here, baby girl." And it's like, there we go. That was on. It's ready to go.
So and
good times.
you didn't get your you didn't win your bet there with Travis proposing.
But I also said he had to get the game-winning touchdown, and we were this close to getting it. We were this close to getting that right at the end of the game. But let's talk about this game, Jimbo. Super Bowl 58. Boring as shit for 3 quarters.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
This was a boring game.
I was contemplating putting the game, because halftime, my wife went to bed. Halftime, she finally went back to work. Her Dak Prescott ankle is doing well.
She's healed up. She's good. She's off the IR, ready to go. All right.
You know what? I would say she's in the practice window because she's on light duty at work. So she's
okay, right? Yeah. So it's just she's doing walkthroughs. She's doing walkthroughs. Yeah. All right.
And she's gonna kill me. I keep on comparing her to a football
it's the
injury.
best way to explain it. I'm when it comes to stuff like this, it's the only way we can explain.
Yeah. So she went to bed. My son, he stayed up for a little bit. I think maybe after the first drive when they went to commercial, and he's like, "I'm just gonna go upstairs." I said, "If you want to go upstairs, I understand. It's boring." He goes, "All right." So he went up and played on his computer. I contemplated putting it on my tablet and playing hockey while I have on my tablet.
Right.
And I was like, no, I'm off tomorrow. I can stay up late to play hockey tonight. And I ended up doing that. I ended up putting it on my tablet and playing a little bit of hockey. And then when it finally decided to go, okay, I guess we'll play now, I was like, hockey off, and put it back on. Yeah, what a boring first 3 quarters.
It really was a boring first 3 quarters. And then we had a game. And then we had the fourth quarter happen. Finally started getting interesting. Finally started getting some points scored, some momentum from different ways there. And this will go down as one of the better Super Bowls remembered simply because of how it ended. And I think that's the thing we got to remember. This wasn't a good game. This wasn't a good Super Bowl, but it was a memorable Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Simply because of the fourth quarter and the overtime. Lots to unpack there. Some decisions made both in regulation and overtime. People have been questioned. I mean, again, as with anything, it's going to get picked apart and analyzed and questioned over and over and over again. It's going to be 10 million different opinions about what people say or think or whatever.
Yeah.
If this and that happened, if that could have happened. Listen, if CMC doesn't fumble on the first drive, San Francisco might win this Super Bowl. If Moody doesn't miss that extra point, San Francisco might win this whole thing. There's 10 million different things that can happen that says whether or not something good or bad will happen. I'm interested on your take. Now, we all know how we take the take of the first 3 quarters, snooze fest. But what was your take on this game as a whole from an analytic standpoint there, Jimbo?
Well, the first thing I want to say, and I've been on a hard stance on this about Brock Purdy. I even made the statement at halftime to you guys that this game feels like it should be 30-3, and it was only, what was it, 10 or 9-3? It was
that on Purdy. I don't put that on Purdy at all.
But if he's the elite quarterback that everybody wants him to be, he should have been able to take that game over and not just get field goals or just get it down there and then have the Christian McCaffrey fumble. All
right. Well, Christian McCaffrey shouldn't have fumbled the ball.
Yeah.
There were a lot of drops by his receivers.
Yeah.
And also you got to give credit to the Spags defense. Like, Spagnuolo knows what he's doing. Like, there's a reason why they just extended him.
Yes.
Again, which if you're in an AFC, you're just like, fuck. But because it seems like the Chiefs are just putting the band back together. So
yeah, they may only lose 1 or 2 pieces.
And again, a big piece of that Chiefs defense is Chris Jones. And apparently at the parade, he was saying, I ain't going anywhere. I'm going to stay here forever. To which his agent on X then said, somebody cut them off, stop giving them alcohol, shut them up.
There was a couple players
You're hurting
that
your
said
bargaining
that.
position here, Chris. You're really hurting stuff. But I mean, it seems like they're just going to run it back here. And maybe just add, reload, maybe get a couple different, maybe add some wide receivers, clearly
Yes.
get rid of Kadarius Toney, maybe, things like that.
Kudos to him. He hasn't said anything since the Super Bowl.
He
So
hasn't
maybe
said anything yet.
maybe he learned.
But yeah, so I don't know, who knows where he goes, what that's up here, but it seems like Kansas City's just going to reload.
Yeah.
But back to the original point of, I'm not putting any of the, I'm not putting all of, let's say that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put all of San Francisco's offensive troubles, if you will, or inability to put the ball in the end zone on Purdy. I don't think that's fair. I think he played well enough. I think he played as well as any other quarterback would against the Chiefs and how they've been played. Listen, the MVP of the league did not play much better in the AFC Championship game against this Kansas City defense. So, this isn't a case of where, Brock Purdy's just not the guy. Well, if that's the case, then Lamar Jackson's not the guy. If we're going to start saying that kind of nonsense,
yeah.
And I don't think anybody's ready to say that. I think people don't want to. I think people feel more comfortable saying that about Brock Purdy because he is Mr. Irrelevant. He is in his second year. He has. But here's the thing: they talk about Purdy and his weapons. Lamar had weapons on his team. He had Zay Flowers. He had Odell Beckham. He has these people.
Yeah, but Odell's
he had Mark Andrews. Let's look at Purdy. I mean, again, he had CMC. He had Debo Samuel. He had George Kittle. We're arguing about the same things here. You know what I mean? So to sit here and say that, see, clearly Brock Purdy's not the guy. Well, Brock Purdy's not the guy, then Lamar Jackson's not the guy.
Yeah.
But nobody's going to say that. Nobody's willing to put their foot out there and say that. So all I'm saying is, if you're not willing to say that Lamar Jackson is not the guy, then stop trying to say that Brock Purdy's not the guy. Brock Purdy, again, he's in his second year, 2 straight NFC Championship game appearances, 1 NFC Championship, a Super Bowl appearance for a guy who was 262. So, I'm not going to throw this kid under the bus. I think he played well. I think he played as well as you could. Against that defense, I think there were a couple plays that they missed, especially their receivers dropping a couple passes. I think the offensive line not doing too well, and we could talk about Feliciano and his running spat there with Jalen Carter a little bit. That's been fun to read,
as well as him putting his teammates under the bus too.
He also did that as well, but again. At least he came out and apologized and said, I did do that. I did put my teammates under the bus and, I was being drunk and angry and stupid. And so I apologize. So good on him for recognizing, not doubling down on it, not being like, I said what I said. He was like, got a little upset, got a little drunk, said some shit I shouldn't have said. Sorry. But him and the Jalen Carter stuff is a completely other thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you notice, especially there in that overtime, when they're down right there by the end zone on that third down play, the offensive line just let Chris Jones right to the backfield.
Yeah.
Didn't stop him. Caused him to rush the throw, and the throw got overthrown because Jennings was wide open.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a touchdown. That's a catch right there. And if that's the case, then we're talking about a situation where, you're talking about the Chiefs having to go. They said they were going to go for 2 afterwards. The overtime talk is another conversation we'll get into in just a moment. But San Francisco had their opportunities. But again, When you win as a team. When you lose as a team. And this was a complete team effort for San Francisco to lose this game. Again, another game where they had a 10-point lead on the Chiefs in the Super Bowl and lost.
Yeah.
And, it's unfortunate, but here we are, Jimbo. We're talking about another dynasty. We went from one dynasty right to another.
You kind of alluded to it a few seconds ago, and game got over. I watched some of the post game wrap ups with Bill Cowher and all of them, and Bill Cowher at the time, I thought was a very good statement. He said, Kyle Shanahan didn't lose this game. Chiefs just won it.
Right. I agree.
Until, what was it? Yesterday came out that the players said that they weren't aware of the.
It was even after changes. The game. Some of the players were saying that they didn't know that the overtime was different. That it wasn't that the Buffalo Bill rule for overtime was in effect, and that even if they had scored a touchdown, it would have been. Which part of me then really wish San Francisco would have scored a touchdown to see half the bench start jumping up and celebrating like they won, and it's like, calm down.
Yeah,
I would have loved to have seen that.
And from hearing Bill Cowher's statement, I was ready to come on here to defend Kyle Shanahan. Everybody, there's a lot of people thinking, can he never win the big one, and should he be on the hot seat next year, and all this other horse shit. But when you hear that, your job as a head coach is to make sure all the players are prepared. And even on Pat McAfee's show today, he was talking to one of the Kansas City players. It might have been Chris Jones that said, in preseason, Andy Reid goes over overtime scenarios to be ready for games like this.
Well, no, they said that, they went over that, and in the playoffs, they would spend 2 days, for 2 days during practice at the end of practices or meetings and stuff like that. They would go over what they were going to do. They said that for the Super Bowl itself, they went over overtime. What would they do? What would happen if this happened? This is what they would do. If this happened, that's what they would do. And that's it. Apparently the plan was, if they did get the ball second, and the other team had scored a touchdown, that if they scored a touchdown, that they were going to go for two anyway. So the other team didn't get a chance for the sudden death third possession and things like that. So, and try to win to lose the game there on the 2-point conversion. So it seems like, well, again, and that's one thing we know about Andy is that his team is never not going to be prepared.
Yeah. And
that's, again, it's hard to defend Kyle Shanahan if half your team doesn't know the rules. You have to know what's going on in the game that you're playing.
Yeah.
And you have to prepare for all eventualities. That's what good coaching is. Now, I know he's also getting a lot of shit for taking the ball first, in which people are saying with this new kind of overtime, it's a lot better to know what you have to do instead of being that first team to either score a touchdown or a field goal, or again, if you get a fourth down, you're probably going to punt it because you're going to, let's say they stopped them on third down in their 30, on their own 30-yard line. Let's say it's 4th and 7 from the 30. You're not going to go for it there. You can't. Meanwhile, as we saw with the Chiefs on their possession, because they were already down by 3, it was 4th and 1 on their, I think it was their 30 or somewhere close to there, somewhere around there. And you got to go for it because if you don't, you lose. Yeah. And of course they converted because they're the goddamn Chiefs.
Yeah.
So I understand that point too. I do also understand the argument being made that that San Francisco defense just got carved up on that final drive by the Chiefs, and they were gassed. They were absolutely gassed. So you just had your defense get carved up. Probably should have lost the game on that drive. If there was 2 more ticks of that clock left, the Chiefs get another play and they probably win it.
Yeah.
Before it even gets to overtime. So I can understand taking the ball, giving your defense a rest, trying to get, thinking you can get the touchdown, force them to then have to get a touchdown, and then you can try to win on the third possession. Now we know now that Kansas City wasn't going to let it get to a third possession. They were going to go for a 2-point conversion. So
Yeah.
all that's moot, but you don't know that at that time or whatever. So that's not the part that I will criticize Shanahan for. I think there is a legitimate argument for taking the ball first in that overtime. Whether or not it's the smartest move, you can, again, we're having that debate, but I'm not going to blame him for that. I think like I said, there's a legitimate argument for it. What you can't defend is having anybody, let alone about half your team, if not more than half, not know that the touchdown doesn't end it.
Yeah.
Knowing that these are the new rules, this is the first new overtime rule since, this is the Buffalo Bills rule, that both teams get a possession no matter what. The fact that your team didn't know that, that's inexcusable. And you can't have that. And you can't have that. And I don't think that's the team throwing him under the bus. Again, you kind of hope that the team would kind of keep that to themselves, but it is what it is. But this also, this harkens back to the day when the Eagles had a tie. And who was it? Was it McNabb or Vic or somebody came out and said, I didn't know games could end at a tie.
Yeah, Dominic McNabb.
Yeah, was that McNabb? I remember that, but it was like, I didn't know games could end in a tie. It's like,
it was probably the only time I ever screamed his name and called him a dumbass. Because, I mean, he was my boy.
That's the thing funny about that, though, is that was an Andy Reid coach team.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a funny juxtaposition here. But you have to know the rules. And if you don't, it's the coach's job to make sure you do understand. And I don't know, maybe that's a thing that after that revelation by Donovan McNabb all those years ago, Andy Reid made sure that he was going to double down. He was going to make sure that everybody knew every eventuality, all the rules that you needed to know, and that's what we're going to do. And so that's a kudos for the Chiefs for knowing what they were going to do and for being prepared for it. Again, I'm not going to argue against Kyle Shanahan for taking the ball first. I think there's a legitimate argument for it, and I understand that. But your team has to know what the fuck is going on.
Yep.
And that's coaching, and that's bad coaching. And again, now we're sitting here talking. This is Kyle Shanahan 3 times in the Super Bowl, once as a coordinator, twice as a head coach. All 3 times having leads. One was a big lead as the offensive coordinator there with the Falcons, and he had 2 10-point leads against the Chiefs. And he wasn't able to close it out. At some point now, you got to start thinking, is this guy somebody that can win the big one, or is he always going to find a way to choke it away? And this is, the same argument that you make about him is the same argument that I have about Lamar Jackson, is the same argument people have had about players and coaches throughout history. Oh, they might be great and it might be good, but if they can't win in the biggest moments, when do you start looking at maybe moving on from them and seeing if you can find somebody to get you over that hump, and as we look at it, listen, I don't think you fire Kyle Shanahan at all.
No.
Right now.
That I do agree with.
But when you see, there's already Niner fans out there saying, listen, you got Belichick out there. You got Pete Carroll out there. You got Mike Vrabel out there. Maybe you take a shot and look at somebody, and maybe if they can push you across the finish line, because how many more opportunities are you going to get like this?
Yeah.
Like
and especially being the loser of the Super Bowl, we always see the Super Bowl hangover. We saw it with Philly.
But you look at some like San Francisco has. This is their second Super Bowl they made. They've been in a ton of NFC Championship games. We know, unfortunately, what happened last year, where the Eagles hurt Brock Purdy on purpose, and was able to go ahead and win the game from them. But
God, I hope Travis Konecny gets in a fight.
They have all these opportunities. You have opportunity after opportunity, whether it's NFC Championship games, whether it's actually getting to the Super Bowl. You have opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, and you keep on wasting them.
Yeah.
Like, how many do we get? Like I was just about to say, like Deebo Samuel he's getting more and more wear on him the more seasons go by here.
Yeah.
You know, George Kittle is starting to get more wear on him. You know, CMC is still at a MVP level,
Yeah.
but how much longer? Like,
Yep.
you know, you have to, you have to start looking at how much longer can you keep this up with these players and keep all these players and pay all these players. Like Brock Purdy's going to need a significant raise.
Yeah.
Very, very soon. And I think a lot of these players are. So you have to look at that, and you're not going to be able to keep everybody. And who are you going to keep? Who are you going to let go? Who's coming in? Who's not? Da, 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 da. Now, granted, John Lynch has done a great job as GM there.
Yeah.
But how many more opportunities are you going to waste? And again, you have to start looking at. It's a legitimate question now of whether or not Kyle Shanahan can get you over that hump.
And that's why I think next season, I think Kyle Shanahan falls into that Mike Vrabel of this past year. Can Vrabel finally get the team to the Super Bowl and all, and win the big games?
Next year is I believe this. And again, this might be, right. This is right after the Super Bowl, so with this recency bias and how things you look at everything. If it's San Francisco wins the Super Bowl next year, or Kyle Shanahan gets fired.
Yeah,
they're going to move on from like you have to, because again, like I said, you have this great core of players, and you've come up snake eyes every single time.
Yep.
Like you're wasting these players, and I think I think there's a thought in Buffalo the same way of just like, how long do we hold on to McDermott? We've had this core, this sense of like, we are a contender. This is our time to win a Super Bowl. And not only, we've only made the AFC Championship game once, and we keep on choking in either the wild card or the divisional round.
Yeah.
Like, they can't seem to get over that hump. So you're talking, what was it? It's been 4 years since Buffalo went to the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
And they were all like, oh, we'll be back. We'll be back. We'll be back. They ain't been back.
Yeah, they haven't been back.
So you have to start looking at, I think for both those teams, for a lot of these teams, it's like, it's getting down to it where now Buffalo, again, I think if Buffalo doesn't at least make it to the Super Bowl next year, I think you got to look at moving on from McDermott. I think if San Francisco doesn't win the Super Bowl, they have to win it.
Yeah.
If they make it and lose, Kyle Shanahan's gone. Yeah. I'm sorry. Because, you're going to talk about they went to 3 Super Bowls and what would be the last 5 years or 6 years, whatever it would be, and lost all 3 of them. Like, you can't have that.
Yeah.
So I think it's for San Francisco, the mission is clear. For Kyle Shanahan, the ultimatum is there.
Yeah.
You win the trophy or you find a new job. And he'll get a new job. I mean, listen, there's going to be plenty of places that need a coach, and he's a good coach.
Yeah, but
you have to win that with this team, with these weapons. Everybody wants to talk about, well, Brock Purdy, he's not that special because look at all the weapons he has. Okay, well, Kyle Shanahan has the same weapons, and they've stubbed their toe every goddamn season with these weapons. Yeah. So
I'd even take it a step further that if Shanahan doesn't win the Super Bowl next year, he may be the next Spagnuolo. Very good coordinator. Probably never be a head coach again.
All right, but even as a coordinator, he lost the biggest lead in Super Bowl history as a coordinator.
Yeah. That's true.
And I mean, that again goes to his resume. This is his 3rd Super Bowl that he's been in as either a head coach or a coordinator. And in all 3, he's lost double-digit leads.
Yeah.
In all 3 of them. In one of them, he lost, what was it, 25-point lead.
Yeah, 25, yeah.
So, like, when you when you start looking at that, it's like, yes, he can get you there, but can he get you over the hump? And I think that's the question. I mean, again, this is a question that is not new. This is not something that's like, listen, people thought about this about Tom Landry and the Cowboys back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Like there was that they were the team that could get to the championship, but couldn't win it. Whether it was against the Packers, and then, they finally went to a Super Bowl and lost to the Colts. Like they were that team that couldn't get over the hump.
Yeah.
And people were like, Is this the team that can do it? Is Landry going to have to go? Do they finally they switched out quarterbacks? They had Craig Morton and then they got Roger Staubach, who finally came back from his naval service, and they were able to have him, and that's when they finally won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But like this is not anything new. Like look at the Vikings and Bud Grant. They went to 4 Super Bowls and lost all 4. Mark Levy and the Bills. This idea that it's not fair. He got him to the Super Bowl. That's pretty good. It's like not when you have a great team with great weapons and all this stuff there ready for you.
Yeah.
Like it's not good enough just to get there. You have to win, and that's the thing. Like Kansas City's gone to now 4 Super Bowls. They lost one.
Yeah.
Granted, it was to Tom Brady, but. Like they didn't, they've gone to 4. They didn't win all of them, but they've won 3 of them.
Yeah.
Twice against San Francisco. Nobody's talking about whether Andy Reid, and again, Andy Reid's another one. Could get the Eagles to the NFC Championship game. Couldn't get them over the hump. Finally, they get the Super Bowl, lose the Super Bowl to Tom Brady and the Patriots.
Yeah.
And then just couldn't get over the hump again. They got to another NFC Championship game, lost to the Cardinals. Couldn't get over that hump, Then he goes to the Chiefs, and everybody's like, it's going to be the Chiefs. But he's Andy. He'll get you there, but he's not going to get you over the hump. Finally got over that hump, and holy shit.
The floodgates open.
Just floodgates open now. You know what I mean? So,
Speaking of Coach Reid, what's your opinion about the whole Travis Kelce almost spearing him?
Nothing burger. It's a nothing burger. It happens.
Yeah.
It happens everywhere on the sidelines. It's happened throughout history. I mean, Jesus Christ. Let's look at everything that happened with Bill Parcells, Phil Simms. Let's look at everything that happened between. I mean, it happens. It happens. It's a football game. You're not working if I did that at an office, I would be fired immediately. Yeah. But they don't work in an office.
Yeah.
They're football players. It's a highly emotional, highly charged game. And, Kelce thought that he should have been on the field to make the block during that play where San Francisco was able to cause the fumble.
Yeah.
He was in a highly emotional state because he's like, this is the game on. I should be out there. I should be the one doing that.
I think this is getting blown up a little bit more than it should, just because it's Travis, and not to blame her, but Travis and Taylor.
The Swifties, not the Swifties, but the ones who claim to be Swifties and then are kind of not.
Okay.
They've kind of blown up on it too. They're like, oh my God, how could Taylor be with this man? Look at what he's doing to that poor old man on the sideline. He almost murdered him. Look at that. And you don't think that he's a violent man? He's going to be. How could Taylor support such a violent man doing this to the elderly? Oh, my God. It's like, really?
Kudos to Reid, though. I mean, yeah, he got bounced off his spot, but he didn't go down.
He stumbled a bit. Yeah, listen, you got, he came from the side. It's like, yeah. But that's the other thing, too, is like, it was fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I had no problem with it.
Yeah, players and coaches yell at each other all the time. Things get emotionally charged all the time. It's a fucking football game.
Yes.
It happens.
Yeah.
Like geez, boy, these guys are not going to want to see what coaches did back in the day.
No.
Go watch some of the old NFL films and see what Bill Parcells was doing. You know what I'm saying? So
old Oklahoma drill. I don't think they could do that anymore.
I don't know if they do that in the NFL anymore. I think they still do it. I mean, high schools, I think, still do it.
Yeah.
I used to do that. That's a good way to settle differences. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I will say, I just want to give one thank you. Thank you, Gronk. I chose, well, first I picked you to make the kick. And then I said to the wife, I said, hey, I picked Gronk to make the kick because she kept on asking about, she's curious what the portion would be, this and that you would get. And I said, well, I think he's going to make the kick. And she's like, now, again, she watches football if I'm watching it, right? She don't go out of her own way to watch football. She goes, he's a wide receiver, isn't he? I'm like, yeah, he's a tight end.
Tight end, but yeah.
So I'm like, all right, at least you're close there. And she's like, well, you got to he's got to miss it because he's not a kicker. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, screw it. So I switched it over. FanDuel gave us $25 free bet money. So thank you, Gronk.
He did kick in high school.
Did he?
Yeah, I've seen a video going. But also now there's a big conspiracy saying that FanDuel rigged it. It's all rigged.
Oh, really?
It was clear. Some people say it was CGI. You could look, if you look at the football, you can see there's artifacting around it, and that was that, or that they filmed 2 kicks, one that made it and one that didn't, and then they decided who did it based on which one was it. But it was like, it doesn't, like that one was funny because they were like, oh, they decided to film both and then put it out there for whichever one had the less people on it.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, that doesn't matter because they were giving away 10 million either way.
Yeah.
So it's not like they gave away less money. It didn't matter. It was 10 million either way.
If you think about it, though,
that just proves that anything when it comes down to conspiracy theories is you're all fucking retarded.
Well,
sorry if that word offends you.
I won't tell you any of my conspiracy theories about next season, how it's going to be scripted the right way.
Don't get me off on a rant again. If we do that again, I'm going to go off on a rant about all these assholes saying about all the rigged and the Taylor Swift and the da-da-da and all the other stuff and scripted. And I can't. I've gone I did 2 straight weeks of rants about this shit. I'm not going to do it again.
We said the first 3 quarters of the football game was pretty boring. How about the commercials?
There were a couple good ones.
Would you say
listen, it was what it was, but there were a couple good ones.
Would you say, what was it, Paramount Plus with Patrick Stewart kick?
Yes, the one with Patrick Stewart. That was a good one.
It was a good one. It was like average, and then when they brought Creed in, I think that's what bumped it up for me.
I thought it was pretty good all the way. They had, with the people they had there, Tua was there, Drew Barrymore was there. Shut your face, Barrymore. Then yes, Creed showing up was good. Then saying if only they had Pigskin and you had Peppa Pig there, that was great.
That's when I started losing it.
That was good. The Paramount Plus one was good.
I like
a lot of Jesus.
Yes.
There was a lot of Jesus and a lot of Timu.
A lot of Marvel Jesus.
Well, that's you started off the night with the Deadpool teaser to go online to watch it, but it was like Super Bowl starting. I'm not going to go to fucking YouTube and watch it. I'll watch it afterwards. So I did. I went after the game, went to YouTube, watched the trailer finally. Super stoked. Looks great. Again, I think he might actually be Marvel Jesus to go ahead and try to save the Marvel Cinematic Universe because it's in trouble.
Yeah. Lately it's been not the greatest.
I think this is going to help kind of reset everything. And if you're going to do it, you might as well do it with Deadpool. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Looks good. I'm excited for that.
Get over here, you monkey, and help me up. The other commercial.
Be careful with that. That's how Howard Cosell got canceled.
The other commercial that I liked, and it's I know you're probably gonna not like it because it's my stupid humor, was the Homes.com one where the guy overtook the board room and to celebrate he popped off the champagne.
Like, I get it. Like it's the because it's the same company that's the apartments.com except it's homes.com. So
I just lost. I was laughing when he popped off the champagne and shot through the glass and almost hit all the board members and shit.
Like again, that one didn't tickle me. Didn't tickle my fancy.
My stupid humor.
Like I said, there wasn't too many. I'm trying to remember like which ones really got me. I'm not sure if the Arnold Schwarzenegger State Farm one was okay.
Yeah.
Neighbor. get to the chopper. Like, I get it. Like, all right, that was fine.
Bud Light was okay with the, you know, I really wish we could go to Super Bowl and then they cut to the scene of a live scene of them at the game.
What commercial was that?
Bud Light, I think it was. It was one of the beer commercials.
I don't remember. I might have been pissing for that one, so I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't see that.
They ended up getting let's just say it's Bud Light, a Bud Light genie, and that would grant whatever wishes they wanted. And, you know, this guy was fortune, you know, he asked for fortune, this guy asked for that, this guy asked for that. And finally the last one was, I wish we could be at the Super Bowl right now. And he snapped his fingers and it cut to a live scene of them up in one of the suites.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you know, like I said, it wasn't the greatest, but it was
All right,
okay.
that's clever. That's clever. Yeah. I'll give him clever. But you know, this is the other thing too, is I was never so much a commercial guy. Like, you know, I love the art of commercials. Obviously, I love doing graphics and graphic arts and any of that kind of commercial art. I love. Yeah. Logos, things like that. So, you know, I love the creative process. I love seeing things be clever. Clever commercials were always good. I like seeing that. But a lot of times, like when it's the Super Bowl, man, I am focused on the game. Like, I really am.
No, I am too.
So unless you really blow me away with a commercial, like, I'm not, like, again, I'm sitting here trying to remember, like, what were some of the good or funnier commercials that were there. And, you know, the Christopher Walken one was actually pretty good.
That was good. Yeah.
I forget which one was that, Lexus or one of the car companies.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I don't remember the car company, but I remember there was Christopher Walken, with everybody doing the impressions of Christopher Walken too. Like, I get it. That was kind of, you know, all right, I got it. That one kind of got a chuckle out.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of them, but, you know, again, I'm not ET, I'm not E News, I'm not, you know, TMZ. I'm not somebody here that's going to rank the commercials or see all that. You know, I'm a sports guy. And like I said, I did like the Paramount Plus commercial. That was actually pretty clever, pretty cool. I'm honestly trying to remember some of the commercials, and
yeah,
the ones I remember simply because the amount they posted them was the goddamn Temu ad, like, which you know is the Wish version of Wish. You know, just a bunch of disgusting, you know, drop shipped packages that are cheaply made. Terrible, all come from China and are probably made by slave labor, and are also probably super toxic. So, and you'll be lucky if you ever get them. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot there. So they spent all those $1 billion and singing about how you can shop like a billionaire. But you'll be lucky if you ever see the stuff you buy. And then if you do buy it, it's going to be absolute trash quality, made by child labor, and most likely will give you cancer. So I don't care how much money you spend on your ad, how cute it is, and how many times you play it. It's not going to be good. Also, who the fuck knew Jesus had that much money? Jesus was all over this Super Bowl, baby.
First time it came on, I was like, is this like a movie that's coming out or something? And then when it finally kicked in, I was like, oh, okay. Like, it's very confusing. And
also, a lot of it looks like AI art, which is, first of all, as a graphic designer, as a logo maker, as a graphic artist, fuck you. And not only that, but a lot. If you go on to social media, a lot of your evangelicals out there found that commercial to be not so much religious, but more satanic than anything, because that's not the message that Jesus would want to send.
That's what I mean.
I'll leave that debate to social media and to all you people out there who love debating religion and stuff. There's a few things we'll talk about on this show that we won't talk about on the show. Religion, one of them. Politics, the other. So enjoy that social media sphere, because not touching it with 10 before. All I'm saying is that Jesus has a lot of dough, because he spent about $30 million overall on those ads that ran, because there was about 6 or 7 ads. So, and I think it was $7 million a pop for the ads this year.
That much? So, yeah.
I think it was $7 million for a 30-second ad. So, a lot of money spent. And hey, Jimbo, we talked about it. I said, if at any point they got over 200 million, watch out, because the NFL is going to get a lot more richer than you thought. Well,
What was it, 202?
It was at peak watching. At some point, people at some point either watch all or some of the Super Bowl. Was 202.3 million people.
Yep.
Unique viewers, as they like to put.
And to put that in perspective, 330 million people live in the United States.
I think we're up to 380 now.
Was it
I think
380?
we're at 380. I think we're close.
Still,
Yeah.
So
even
still well above 50%.
We're talking about roughly half to a little more than half of all of America was watching the Super Bowl. That's a giant fucking number.
Yeah.
That is a giant number. The average viewer ratings were, I believe, 125 million, 123, 125, something like that, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But they got their peak of over 200. So that's another thing too for everybody out there who was like, "This is a boring Super Bowl. I'm not going to watch it." But Taylor Swift is there boycotting it. This sucks. Shut the fuck up. You watched it. We know you watched it. The numbers show you watched it. You're not fooling anybody. You watched the fucking game. We see you. We see you lying sons of bitches.
And there's going to be a couple people that will chime into you like, "Well, I only chimed in for, I only watched it for like 5 minutes." You still watched it.
You watched
still tuned in.
You were still there. You were still there. You still watched it.
Yeah.
So the NFL's the next deal that goes through, the next licensing deal, because here's the other thing too. It's only going to get bigger.
And on Pat McAfee's show, they said that they are doing another playoff game, which is going to be on Amazon this upcoming season.
Yes, Amazon got the wild card game. The auction for that, so Amazon will be doing that, which I figured, and that's better anyway, because I mean, at least Amazon's already established as having Thursday night football.
Yeah,
like it's not like you have to go to another exclusive. Like it's not like they're being from somewhere else and being exclusive. See, NBC would show the games, and it would also be on Peacock.
Yeah.
And then last year for the wild card game, they said, "Oh, you want to watch this game? Well, normally we do NBC and Peacock, but you know what? No, now you only need Peacock." I think that's what pissed people off.
Yeah.
Amazon is, well, you've always had to have Amazon to watch Thursday Night Football, so now you're getting, you're already going to have Amazon, so that's fine. Like that doesn't, I don't think that bothers me. I'm sure people will bitch about it anyway, but now I believe the Brazil game that's going to happen that Friday after opening Thursday.
Okay.
With your Philadelphia Eagles, that one is still up for auction. That one hasn't been assigned yet or granted to anybody, so we'll see where that goes. But again, speaking of that, again, you have the Brazil game next year.
Yeah.
On top of all the other international games that are going to happen in the UK, and I believe Germany's getting more as well. Then next year is not next year, but the year after. 2025 is Spain.
Okay.
Madrid, they're at the Camp Nou. They're going to have an NFL game there. So you're talking about the NFL is expanding their reach. They're expanding their viewership.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing you got to think of is that now you're talking about more broadcasting rights, international broadcasting rights. More money's going to come in, which means the salary cap's going to go up, which means salaries are going to go up, which means
ticket prices are
everybody's just
going
to be making more and more and more money. These owners are going to be making more money. Players are going to be making a hell of a lot more money. Like we're going to get to the point now where the bare minimum of just being on an NFL roster is going to get you $1 million.
Yeah.
Like we're almost already there. Like I think the bare minimum right now is, I think somewhere like what's Brock Purdy making, like $860,000?
Yeah, I was gonna say like 880
base, like somewhere around there. And I think that's the lowest that there is for just being on an NFL roster.
Yeah.
So like we're almost there anyway.
Yeah. So it may be higher than $1 million.
we're fast approaching this fact where just being on an NFL roster as a fourth string guy or just a special teams guy or a backup special team guy or something like that, just being there is going to make you a millionaire. That's crazy to think about. That's absolutely crazy to think about. But we're there, and it's only going to go up. It's only going up. The NFL is just, at this point, it is a juggernaut. It reminds me a lot of Taylor Swift. Just when you think she can't get any bigger, that bitch gets bigger. And just like the NFL, just when you think it can't get any bigger, it gets bigger. Yeah. And it's going along those, and that's it. You look at some of these other leagues, and like the NBA, it's up and down. It's not like that. The NHL, God, they need some marketing help. They really do. The NHL needs marketing help. Baseball is fucking dead. Baseball is so dead.
I thought you were going to say baseball back.
I don't know if you can resurrect baseball. I have no idea. I don't think you can. Baseball is so dead. Yeah. And just the sporting landscape of this, baseball, in my mind, is below hockey at this point.
No, I agree.
I'm sorry. Yeah. It's so bad.
I mean, go ahead.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
I was going to say, obviously, NFL number one. You know, since I've been following hockey now for a few years now, I would say hockey's number two. I would put them over NBA.
Personally, I like hockey more than I do like the NBA. But I think depending on the day, you can go back and forth and see, NBA, NHL, which one's better to watch, which one gets better ratings, all this kind of stuff. The NBA gets more push from ESPN than the NHL does, which I think is annoying to a lot of hockey fans.
Yeah.
And again, this goes to the entire marketing problem that the NHL has. But the one thing the NHL has over, I think, any other sport is the playoffs. I think the NHL playoffs body everybody, even the NBA. The NHL playoffs are magnificent. And it's the one thing I think everybody looks for. So from when you're talking about from like April to June, I think the NHL is untouched. I really do.
Yeah.
But so you have an argument, like you have the NFL is clearly number one by a mile. Then I think number two and number three, you could have an argument about the NBA and NHL, depending on who you are, what you like. There's people going to say NBA clearly by a mile. You can have other people say the NHL is better, or they feel like it's the second league or whatever. It's you could toss that up. But honestly, unless you're talking to like hardcore baseball people, baseball is so distant as a fourth.
Yeah.
Like ratings wise, what people like it's just, baseball is just not doing it. And I'm sorry, like 162 games, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Nobody cares. Like you start your season in the end of March and it ends halfway through November.
I was going to say, November now.
Nobody cares. You're talking about, and then not only that, but you have this 162 game season. And then at the playoff time, everybody gets in.
Yeah.
So what's the fucking point?
Yeah.
What's the point of having all these games?
Yeah.
And especially if you look at the last couple of years, is that teams that haven't won their division end up making it to the World Series or winning the World Series. Nobody cares. Like, baseball is broken.
Yeah.
Baseball is so broken. It needs help. They need to cut down the games. They need to cut down on the amount of playoff teams that get. You either have to cut down on the games and keep the playoffs as it is. No, you have to cut down the games anyway. I think either way, you have to cut down on the amount of games. You have to cut down on the amount of games. Make it 100 games. Make it 110, something. But it can't. Baseball is so boring and drags. And that's the thing is like it. Why do I care what happens on July fucking 26th in Anaheim or in Baltimore, whoever, like who won the World second? Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Nobody cares. It has no bearing on the season. It has no bearing on anything. Like it's so like baseball having that many games mattered when there was nothing else going on.
Yeah.
When baseball was it. And listen, baseball was it for 100 and 125 years in this country. Baseball was it. It was tops. You couldn't beat baseball. But listen, times change. And baseball has been struggling, I want to say, for close to 50 years now. Like,
Yeah.
baseball has not been worth a goddamn, especially I want to say in the last 10 to 15 years.
Definitely.
Baseball has not been on the radar for anybody.
Yeah.
You know, and you can sit there and talk about all you want and say, oh, baseball's great. Oh, you're stupid for that. That's fine. Whatever. Numbers don't lie, you know, and it's just, and listen, you're talking to somebody who grew up a Yankees fan. I love the Yankees. I loved what, you know, the Yankees were, you know, in my teenage years, in my high school years, the Yankees were winning World Series after World Series. I was huge into baseball. I loved it, watching, you know, Jeter and Posada and Andy Pettit and Bernie Williams and Mariano Rivera, like all that, loved it. You know, I was, you know, like, you're not talking to somebody who hates baseball or who ever hated baseball, but just as time goes on, it's just like it became more, you know. But even then, in the midst of loving baseball, in the middle of summer, who cares?
Yeah.
Because the games didn't mean anything. If you shorten the season, you make the games mean more. Then it's like, all right, this is an important game. This is an important game. This is okay. This means a little bit more. When you have 162 games, nobody cares. And then at the end of the season, everybody makes the playoffs anyway, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
You play all these games, and it's like, all right, well, we lost all these games. We only won 82 games, but we're still going to get in as a wild card, and we still get in, and then we, you know, just those are the games that matter. Well, if those are the only games that matter, then at the end of the season, then what do the other 162 fucking mean? They don't.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem that baseball finds themselves in now, is that they have a diluted product anyway. And now you're talking about with this expanded playoffs they've done, you've now made the 162 games, which is already a diluted schedule to begin with, you've made it even more meaningless.
Yeah.
It means so much less now. So who cares?
Yeah.
Sorry to offend any of the baseball people that watch this, but your sport is in trouble. It's in serious trouble. And I don't know if it's because of your commissioner, who's a big dumb dipshit in Manfred, you know, or just, you know, you're trying to hold on and be like, tradition, this is how it's always been. Well, something's got to change because your sport is fucking dying.
Yeah.
To the point where the Oakland A's said, you know, clearly they're leaving Oakland because the Oakland Coliseum is a fucking shit dump, literally.
Yeah.
That place fills up with sewage every day. So they said, we're moving to Las Vegas. Put their plans in. Las Vegas said, this isn't going to work. Try to work it out with Oakland. Las Vegas doesn't want you. Las Vegas, you're talking about a city that has a chance to have a fourth or third major league team, a baseball team, basically saying, we want to move to Las Vegas. We're making our attention home. We're going to Vegas. They put their plans into Vegas, and Vegas said, you know what? We're good. That's how
bad.
shitty your sport is. That's how bad your sport is that you have a city on the rise as a sporting city that's looking to have teams come there, whether they be expansion or relocation. And they said, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Work it out with the city you're from, which that's not going to work out either. So now the A's are in a pickle because
the A's are like the
they're
Arizona
basically
Coyotes.
homeless. They got nowhere to go.
Yeah.
But
so to get away from baseball, one last thing before we end the show. Do you want to do a NHL Dubby pick for this weekend and both of us take our fandom out of it and try to pick it as a biased?
Let's see here. Well, first of all, Jimbo, if we're going to do Dubby picks, why don't we tell people about Dubby? Why don't we tell the good people what Dubby is and what Dubby does? What does Dubby do, Jimbo? Well, first of all, what is Dubby?
Dubby is a energy drink. And when you think of an energy drink, you're thinking, oh, you know, it's full of sugar and everything. It actually does not have any sugar in it. Helps you focus to make your NHL picks or during gaming. You know, unfortunately, didn't help me last Friday during my iRacing race. Got a couple penalties, cursed out a couple people. But
Whoops.
Yeah.
But see, that's you. That's not the Dubby's fault. That's
no,
just you.
That's just my dumbass
You were
fault.
focused. You were just focused as you ran your car into the wall.
Yeah. And if you head over to w.gg and look at all their products, they have different flavors. The one you see right here right now is the orange cream flavor. It's called Callow Cream. They also have King's favorite, the Dub Sludge.
Dub
which
Sludge.
is like
I
a
do love
green
the Dub
apple.
Sludge, baby.
So, you go over, you decide what you want to get. And when you go to do the checkout, in the promo code box, you type in ST Sports 18, all capital letters, and you'll get 10% off.
Look at that.
I think I did that pretty good.
That's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. Listen, it has that neuro factor, which again, that's not to blame for how bad you did in the iRacing.
No.
You have the neuro factor, you have no sugar, you don't have the crash. And the flavors are delicious. Like I said, I'm an apple guy, so the Dub Sludge is great. You have that orange creamsicle flavored one, which is good. And I'm not saying that you can or that you should mix some of these with alcohol, but it's not bad. I'm telling you, it's not bad. That's not officially sanctioned by Dubby,
No.
but I'm just saying it's not bad. So anyway, and like Jimbo said, go to w.gg. You go into the promo code box there, ST Sports 18, all caps, get 10% off of your entire order. Jimbo, you want to talk about the Stadium Series?
Yes.
Now, again, there's two games that are happening with this Stadium Series at MetLife. There's the one on Sunday at 3 o'clock, which is the Rangers and Islanders. That's not the one we're concerned about.
No.
Fuck the Rangers. And I don't mind the Islanders, but holy shit, are those sweaters they have fucking terrible. I'm just going to put that out there as a jersey nerd, as a logo nerd, as somebody who likes sweaters, jerseys, uniforms, and logos. Holy shit! So many ways you could have went with it, and you went with the worst option possible. So I'll just say that. But the game that we're interested in, the game that we are actually going to,
yes,
will be on Saturday night, 8 p.m. in 24 fucking degree weather. At MetLife Stadium.
Hopefully a little bit of flurries.
What's that?
So hopefully a little bit of flurries. I think that make the game a little bit more cool.
I believe the flurries are happening earlier in the day. So it would be cool if it happened there at night. But I don't think so. But we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. You never know. Weather is always fluid, unlike gender. I'm going to get in trouble for that one. I'm going to get in trouble with that one.
I'm going to have to put the beep over your mouth now.
Philadelphia Flyers, your Philadelphia Flyers against my New Jersey Devils. Devils favored by 1.5, by a goal and a half, goal and a hook. That's kind of, usual how it is. Over under is 5.5 goals. Okay. Jimbo, looking at it from your perspective, who you got and why?
You're going to say because you're a Flyers fan, but I'm going to go with the Flyers. I think Konechny, and I hope Tippett's playing. I think he's a little banged up. I think I saw it today. I think if those two get going, they'll be able to put 2 or 3 goals up just themselves. I'm hoping as a hockey fan that this game's like a 3-2. I think a 3-2 hockey game like that is a lot more entertaining than watching like a 7-5 or 7-6. Like I like a low scoring hockey game. So, but I'm going Flyers 3-2.
All right, you got Flyers winning 3-2. To me, the biggest if with this game is Devils goaltending. Like it's been all year.
Okay.
The Devils goaltending is a fucking problem. Sometimes it can be good. And if not good, at least serviceable.
Okay.
Other times it's downright fucking awful. Now, the Devils have put together back-to-back wins for the first time in a long time in beating Seattle and Nashville earlier this week.
Okay.
So there's a bit of feeling of, well, maybe we're starting to put it together. Maybe we're making strides. I don't know. The Devils' offense is amazing. I think the Devils' offense is maybe one of the best offenses in the league. Again, the problem is defense and goaltending. If the Devils can get even serviceable goaltending, I think the Devils can win this game.
Okay.
Unlike you, I don't think this is low scoring.
Okay.
I think simply because of the Devils' goaltending situation, as has been the case many times this year, the Devils are going to have to put up some goals to try to win this game. I think that 5.5 goal over under, I think that's getting shattered.
Really?
I think that's getting shattered.
Wow.
I think I'm going to give the win to the Devils.
Okay.
I don't think they cover the 1.5. I don't think they cover the 1.5. So if you're going by the spread, that's picking the Flyers because I think it's a 1-goal game.
Okay.
But I would take the over. I got the Devils beating the Flyers 6-5.
Wow.
I think it'll be a good one.
I'm gonna add one other thing. And
Okay.
I said this earlier in the episode. My Gronk money, and I teased you a little bit on Facebook today. I am putting my Gronk money. Do you know what team I'm putting it on?
I know who you're putting it on.
Who?
Flyers.
No, Devils. What did I say?
Like I just told you, I think it's a bad choice.
What did I say all NFL season? Reverse psychology. I'm
but
losing the free
listen,
money.
like I told you, I'm telling you, like I think either whether it goes your way and the Flyers win, you lose your money, or if the Devils win by 1, like I say, you're still going to lose your money. So
I'm doing straight up money line.
Oh, you're going to do money line?
Yeah,
Okay. All
yeah.
right. Well, all right. We'll see.
So it's a win-win
see
for
that.
me.
How drunk do you think Joe Jonas is? Because he's not having. Joe Jonas is not having a good couple months here.
Because they go on at 6:30, then they play during the intermissions, I believe, too.
I don't know. I know that Gaslight Anthem is going to be there
Oh,
for the Devils, and if the Devils score, they're actually going to play the Devils' goal song live, which is I'm excited for. That's going to be fun. Hopefully, we score and score a lot.
yeah.
So that'll be pretty cool.
I'm a little pissed at the pregame stuff. They're gonna.
I think the Jonas Brothers are pregame, but Joe's not having a good time. Apparently, Super Bowl weekend, he was getting he was drunk and heckling or something in some kind of crowd, and again he's not doing well with the whole divorcing Sophie Turner thing, and now he's also made enemies with his ex Taylor, who it looked like they had made up and were doing well, but apparently since that divorce happened, that's happening. Like he's just he's just
so could we?
He's just a mess.
Could we potentially have like a wedding singer moment there where he just?
I want that. That's what I'm saying. Like how all of a sudden now seeing the Jonas Brothers could be cool. Like if you see that some bitch stumbling around the stage or something, like let's go. Like all of a sudden it's like not that I'm rooting for somebody to have a bad day or bad mental moment, but listen, if we have to suffer through the Jonas Brothers, at least make it entertaining for us.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
All right. I think that's gonna be it for this week.
Like I said, it's funny for the post Super Bowl show. We didn't talk too much about this. Like it was what it was,
Again, first 3 quarters sucked.
First 2 quarters was a slog to get through. It was a slog.
Yeah. So, till next week. This is your good friend Jimbo.
It's your boy King.
We're out.
Rangers suck. Flyers swallow.
Fuck the Devils.